Does your car seat resemble this? Does it have rips? Does it have tears? Does it have holes? Is it worn out? Well, this is a good video to watch because I'm going to show you how to reupholster this bottom seat. Welcome to Alley 55 Customs. So your seat has 4 bolts that is going to be holding it down. You need to remove those 4 bolts. So every corner will have a bolt. There's 2 in the front and there's 2 in the back. So go ahead and remove, these have covers on them. So you go ahead and pop that cover off and then you're going to remove these bolts. So go ahead and remove them right now and we'll move to the next step. So to access these bolts, you're going to have to slide your seat forward to get to the back bolts. You're going to have to slide the seat back to get to your front bolts. So go ahead and remove all 4 of those bolts. We have a couple connections down below and the seat will come right out. All right, so now that we've removed all 4 bolts, you can go ahead and just tilt this seat right back. You're going to see a lot of nastiness. Look at that. That's disgusting. But anyways, what you're going to do is you want to disconnect this cable right here. This is for your power seats. The newer vehicles, now this is a 2000, but the newer vehicles will have an additional connection, and that is for your airbags. So go ahead and disconnect both of those, or if you just have an older vehicle, just disconnect this one, and we will go ahead and pull the seat out after that. So the other thing that you want to do before you actually pull the seat, you want to make sure that you have your seat bottom, your replacement seat cover that you're going to use in place of that nasty old thing. You want to get that ordered, get it in so your vehicle is not down for a week to 2 weeks. Now, I have it in stock, so I'm able to put this back on and have it back up and running in the same day. So this seat is actually out of a 2000 Ford Excursion. It works for the Excursion, the F-250s, the F-350s, and all your seats are going to be different in all different makes and models. But it's going to be pretty much similar to what I'm doing here today. So there's 2 screws. We're going to take off the outer trim, the electrical connection. So there's going to be 2 screws here, 1 screw up under here, and 1 screw back here. So what we want to do is get a pry tool. The door panel remover works really well. Just get right behind it, kind of wiggle it, pops right off. So then we'll go ahead and there's a Phillips head screwdriver. You're going to use this screw here. Also, I believe it's a Phillips head. And then you got the 2 front ones. Okay, so these are push pins in the front. They're plastic. You can actually get behind there and pull on them and they pop off. Use a panel remover. And on the back is the same thing. There is a push pin that actually goes in. You just get behind that and pop it out. The other thing too is, so when you pop this out and you flip it over, you do not need to remove those 2 screws, because what we do need to do is we need to take this connection off right here. So go ahead and disconnect this, pull this out, and then feed this whole line up through, and it'll come right through the top here. All right, now that you got your outer panel off, now what we need to do is we have to remove the seat back itself. So there's a bolt here and a bolt here that we do need to remove, and then one on the other side, which is right here. And so we do have to remove that. Okay, so now when you pull this out, you do have a wire on the back, and that wire is this one right there. So you have to remove this wire here, and then you're going to feed this back through and out the hole on the side right there. Okay, now that we've removed the one seat connection on the left-hand side of the seat. What we're going to do is to remove the rest of this. Now there's a wire going up in here, so we do have to disconnect that and pull it through also. But there's a little clip back here like this. Now the best way to do it is, I already started on it. Get a small pry bar or even a screwdriver and then just start pushing it outward, and that slides right off. It's very easy to do. Just go ahead and put like a small pry bar or a straight slide screwdriver and then just start prying, and it should just come right off. Okay, so this cable that runs up here, this is going to be for your lumbar support. And so what you're going to do is you're going to trace it back over here. And what you're going to take off is there's a screw here and a screw up on top. Phillips head, unscrew those, push this back through and then feed it out, and your whole seat back now is disconnected. So here's what your lumbar support cable looks like. This is where you had the knob on the outside, the plastic knob, and you turn it, to adjust your back support. You can do, take it off and then reroute it and make sure that you remember where everything goes. One thing I used to do, and I still do believe in it 100%, is to take pictures before you start a project on your vehicle. That way you know how to reroute all the wires. You're not going to get confused in that aspect of it. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to remove these 4 bolts here. There's 1, there's 2 right here, this one, and then there's 3 right here, and 4 is down here. So we're going to go ahead and remove that. Then the whole entire seat cushion can come right off, and it's a little bit easier to put it on. You don't have to take it off, but I want to take it off because it is, you'll see it's much easier to install the new seat bottom. Now, after you've got all 4 of your bolts out, your seat will just lift right off. And let's just go ahead and move everything aside, and we'll focus on the nasty seat bottom. So now we have a full access. So you can go ahead and start pulling the, there's this plastic. This is actually what holds the pressure down onto your seat and pulls it down. So you'll have 1 here, 1 here, 1 right there, and 1 in the back. So go ahead and start taking these off, and then you can pull it up. You're going to have hog nose clips that we're going to have to cut. So I'll show you that next. All right, so the next thing you're going to do is you're going to just peel this back, peel the seat back a little bit, and see those little clips right there? There's 3 in the front. Those are hog ring clips. You're going to have to clip it. And there's 3 down the side here, and there'll be 3 down the side over here also. There's none in the back. So go ahead and use a pair of dikes, work just fine to clip those. And then when you're reinstalling the new clips, you can just use a pair of pliers or needle nose just to hold them down. So it's pretty easy to do. And also another thing too, it's a really good time if you want to change out your seat cushion itself. This just lifts right off the base, and you can go ahead and replace the seat cushion. I'm not going to do that. The customer didn't want me to go that far into it, so I guess he just didn't want to spend the money. But we're going to go ahead and leave this on there, and let's get going. Okay, so the easiest way that I found is just go ahead and kind of flip your seat inside out, and then you can start feeding your line down in there. And what you're going to do is start hooking into, let me show you. See, that's what you're going to hook into right there with your hog ring clips right there. There's 3 there, and those 3 on that side. And so what you're going to have is this is actually what you're going to be hooking into, and this is a must, or the middle of your seat is going to start to bulge out on you, and it'll start to disform. So you want to definitely get this in place. And it doesn't make a difference which side you start on. Just go ahead and just get everything lined up. Drop this down in right here, and you just want to make sure that you are even. And see how it all sits down in there now. So you can go ahead and start installing your 3 clips on each side. So you have a total of 9 going around here. So let's get underway. If you do not have hog ring pliers to install the hog rings down inside of here, it's going to be a little more difficult, but still not bad. What I'm doing is, and I found that this is the best way, is go ahead and match up right down here. Go ahead and match up where your hog ring is going to be, and then go ahead and install it through here, and I'll show you that in just a second, and do it on all 3 of those. And then what you will do is, if you can get down in there, you can pinch it together with a pair of pliers. It's a little hard to get in there, or you can use a pair of needle nose. And another thing too is, if you go ahead and pre-bend, so go ahead and take your hog ring and start to compress on it and get it to start to bend. It also makes the installation a lot easier, and it goes on quicker. So what I did was I just matched up where it is going to be anchored down to, and go ahead and just feed up through the top of, see if you can look at the end here. Can't really see it, but there's a rod that runs through here, and you want to go up and over the top of it, and then it's going to go down around that that rod that's down below, and then you have to pinch them together. So here's your final product. And now you got to do the front and the other side. Now that our clips are all put in, what it's doing is it actually is pulling down on this part of the seat right here, and this ridge here and this ridge here. Now, if you don't put those clips in, this whole thing will just ride up. And I know it's just kind of a pain to put them in, but they have to be installed, because if not, then this whole thing is just going to start walking around, raising up and down, and you don't want that. So now we can go ahead and start installing our edges here, and just start pulling them down and hooking them onto the bottom, and I'll get right back to you. All right, so all you have to do is just pull the tabs over, lock them in place here, hit all 4 sides right here, all 4 sides, and you just kind of have to move the work the leather down over the top of the seat cushion itself. And now we can just go ahead and start installing, and we're going to start with the rails. Okay, so here's the old seat cover, and I'm going to show you. So you're going to have some holes in there that you need to cut. So what I do is I just put it back together, and then like here you can feel where the bolt's at, the bolt's sticking out. You're going to have to cut that. And so the best way to do it, just take an X-Acto knife and just cut it right across here, and then you can just push it down around the bolt. Now on this side you've got, because there's all these holes here. This one was not a factory OEM seat bottom, so we're going to have to take and do the same thing, and cut out some holes. So we'll go ahead and do that here in just a minute. Okay, so we're installing the seat belt connector, and so we had to go a little bit bigger because we have to fit the plug back through. The other thing too with these, this is the aftermarket. You can't tell the difference. It is really good quality, and you can get them on eBay. I think it was about $125. From Ford itself, it would come pre-cut with the holes, but it was a lot more money. So we went this route, and so you have to customize it a little bit. That's not too bad. Okay, so now we are putting on our seat back, and we're going to run our lumbar cable back down through. So go ahead and start running that in, and then we're going to have to drill out the sides so we can get the bolts to go through here, and then it all should start to hook together. It should be a pretty easy process, and then it would be nice to have the pre-drilled holes from the factory, but it was quite a bit more expensive. So, you know, we'll just have to deal with it as it comes. Okay, now that we have that installed and fed through, let's go ahead and bring your seat back up into position. And then right down here is the bolt sticking out that this has to slide over. So you want to put this side in first, and then we're going to bolt the other side down next. All right, so another good way to get your holes lined up and all that is to go ahead and just take the one side off, and then you can line up your holes, get everything where it should be, and then go ahead and start screwing everything down. And you can also use like an awl if you have one that pops a hole through it. You know, you can use scissors, anything that would make a hole in leather. All right, so our back of the seat is put on, and we got our lumbar in place. So I just went ahead and cut the hole. A pair of scissors works perfect, and went ahead and hooked up your, this is the brace for your seat back. So, and it does help if you take the little side of the leather seat off, the clip that's on the back. It's easy enough to do, and then you can actually see where the holes are, and then you can pop a hole through the leather. Like I said, again, it is easier to get one that's pre-drilled or pre-made with holes already in it. But hey, I think it's turned out good. So let's move on to the next step. All right, so now you, after you got done finished cutting all your holes and you put your wires all back down in, we're going to go ahead and just finish the hookup process. There's that one. And this is what it should look like when you're done with it. Everything's reconnected, and we're just about ready to put the seat back into the Excursion. So make sure all your bolts are tight. But other than that, I mean, you got a good looking seat, and you know, doing upholstery is not too difficult. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and install the end push pins here, and then you got the one that goes in on this side. So if you have some push pins, you know, go ahead and match them up to your old one, and then put the new ones in. Excuse me, and then we're pretty much good to go there. The other thing too is, if you're watching my other videos, clean your parts before you put them back on. It's just a good thing to do. It's more presentable. You have the part off already, you might as well clean it up and get it looking good. I mean, it's just one more thing that, you know, just kind of dresses it up. All right, so here's the final product. And I want to point out a lot of these marks here like this, they will go away over time. A lot of this is from being folded up, put in a box, and shipped to me. And, you know, these things will go away. Once you sit on it, it'll push everything down and out and get it conformed to your bottom. And anyways, let's go ahead and install it. The other thing I want to talk to you about is dielectric grease. You want to put some on your connections before you hook them back up under the seat. All right, so now we're going to hook up the electrical connection. Go ahead and put a little bit of the dielectric grease. Just grab a Q-tip, and you don't need a lot, just a small amount, and just touch each one of those probes right there, and then go ahead and make connection on it, and you should be good to go. All right, so you got your electrical connection all hooked up for under the seats. Let's check it out, make sure that it works. Yep, it's working just fine. Go ahead and tighten down your bolts. And now that your bolts are all tightened, then you are done. You're completed. And I gotta say, from what it was, from the old seat, that's what it used to look like, to the new one, that's a huge difference. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. We do a ton of videos on a weekly basis, and we do a bunch of giveaways. Hope this video helped.